Hey everyone, this is Loretta. Recently there was a video question that was put out there by the user MAXDESU, and he asked everybody a very appropriate question that I thought was really important, and it applies to me, so I'm going to answer it. And the question was, why am I, not I, but why is everyone, but why am I studying Japanese? どうして私が日本語を勉強していますか? And I thought that was a really, really appropriate question to ask because there are so many people out there who are trying to learn Japanese or who are learning Japanese or who have learned and they're not really sure why they're learning it. It seems to be like a really popular thing that's going on out there. And just hearing the question, it made me wonder why myself. Why did I start and why am I still studying Japanese? So I thought I'd answer that. Okay, so when I originally started studying Japanese, I was in high school because they offered it at my local high school. And the reason I took it was because they were offering French, Spanish, Latin, and German. And ever since I was a little girl, I always thought it was so cool to have like a secret code language that only you and your friends knew. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So then when I got to high school, everyone was taking French or Spanish because they'd either already been taking Spanish from middle school or they wanted to start French because, I don't know, French is cool. And my friend and I, one of my close friends, we were like, oh, well, why don't we do something that everyone else isn't doing? Why don't we start taking Japanese? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Not only is it this secret language, it's also kind of exotic. It's out there. No one's really done much with it yet. That was the cool thing to do, I guess. And so I thought that would be awesome. And me and my friend started taking it. And then eventually my friend moved away. So I was alone and I was learning Japanese. But I thought to myself, even though I'm not really learning this to talk with my friends so much, it's still a really cool thing. I started studying it more and more and getting more into the language, and I realized that I really liked it. I started to fall in love with the language, as they put it, and I started entering competitions, the National Japan Bowl in America, where it's kind of like a game show where people come together and they compete with teams from their school, and then they ask you questions about, kind of like a game show, they ask you questions about like the culture, the language, the kanji, just crazy things like that, and then you answer it for points and you go up to like a national level, and then there's like prizes and stuff like that. And then I entered into that for a couple of years, and then I started I also entered into a poetry literature contest. It was like a modern language literature contest, and I won first prize for a poem that I recited. I didn't write it. It was a poem that I recited and did sort of like an interpretive dance sort of thing. But not really a dance. It's just like an interpretive word movement thing. I don't know. So, and I got first place for that, and I started to realize, this is starting to benefit. I'm just getting a lot of things I can write on my college application. I'm learning a lot of things. I'm being exposed to something completely different that a lot of people don't get a chance to. It was a really good thing. People started asking me, why are you taking Japanese? Why are you taking Japanese instead of like Spanish, which is more needed in your area, which is a lot because there are a lot of Spanish speakers in America, especially around where I live near Washington, D.C. There are a lot of Spanish speakers. So it would be more sensical for me to take something like Spanish. But the thing is, there's so many people taking that, and I didn't want to just follow the flow. I wanted to do something exotic. And I started to realize I really like Japanese culture. And not just like, I don't know, people are like the music or the games or the anime or, that's like the popular culture. But I really like the idea of like the peaceful and the zen and all of the, even though that's not like that stereotype, but like, the whole like the nature and the architecture, and it was just a really beautiful thing. And because as an American, you notice that there's not really that much of a culture in America. It's more of the conglomeration of all the other cultures. So I was really, really impressed by just like, it was such a distinct culture, and I really started to fall in love with it. So that's why I started learning it in high school. So originally my plan was to take Japanese and become an English teacher in Japan, which is something that a lot of people do. Which is why, from that point on, I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to do something different. And I thought, okay, well, what else do I like to do? One of my favorite things is to knit, which is really random. And I also love Japanese fashion. So a couple years back in high school, what I did was, there was like a knitting bazaar thing, and I made a whole bunch of different fashions and like scarves and things, and I sold them. And then I used the money and bought a plane ticket and went to Japan. So that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, so these things can kind of go together. So I started to notice how like my different talents could help each other out to help me do different things in life. So now like when I go to Japan or when my friends go to Japan, I'm always like, okay, well, stock up on Japanese magazines, fashion magazines, so like I can get my fill of Japanese fashion because I think it's awesome and it's really interesting. It's so much different than like the whole American wear blah colors and jeans all the time, stuff like that, which I do because I'm an American. But I thought it was really cool, so I love Japanese fashion. And also in high school, I had like a knitting business, I guess you can say, where like I made fashions. Like these are some pages from the magazine that I had made, and my friend put this together into a book for me. But these are just like some of the things that I would sell through school. And so obviously I love knitting, aside from many other things. And so I was thinking one day it might be cool if I opened up a store in Japan, or a Japanese targeted store where it's like different fashions or different like knitting things. And I thought that'd be really cool. So that's kind of something that I'm thinking about, even though that's just a side thing I want to do, maybe even along being maybe like a translator or something. But so right now I'm studying linguistics, and I'll be done with all the Japanese that they offer at my college as of next year. So woo for that. And then I see where that will go from there. But yeah, that's why I guess I studied Japanese. That was kind of a long thing, but maybe you can get an idea with all of that why I started taking it. But really, I think that's an awesome question. So thanks, MAXDESU, for asking that and giving me a chance to go over why I am studying Japanese. And for everyone else out there too. So thank you for that, and good luck studying, everyone.